How to lash children. Now some are wanna, yes, one is Bajan for you all. Some are wanna rush in to read this little story to condemn it because wanna don't believe in corporal punishment. Well, it isn't for everybody. But parents of all walks of life and all races and all cultures have benefited from knowing how and when to administer corporal punishment. Licks, lashes, hot slaps, roast pooch served with a side of cut tail and tar behind, all can have an integral purpose in the raising of successful human beings. Even though the statistics show that they hardly ever do die, some want to feel that children gone dead from this sort of treatment. We use heart, not logic, I guess. But the truth is, we don't know the difference between discipline and abuse. Nowadays, a good cut tail get labeled as child abuse when it might really just be child management. A well-mannered child who understands boundaries and has a healthy fear of authority is not a bad thing. Some of one of children rude and unmannerly, and you can't carry them anywhere without the stress of constantly apologizing for their wellness. So it's easier to keep them home where no one else will see how rude them is and how them ruling you. Love is not enough. True love cannot exist without discipline and commitment. Teach them how to be a child. Teach them how to be an adolescent. Teach them how to be an adult. Don't leave them to their own devices. A few warm slaps can help with this if they are administered by a parent who truly loves their child. Sometimes saying, "Learn to listen," is ignored. Try, learn to listen. It might be a little more effective. Parents are often simply fertile people who have sex. Some of them don't know much and don't do any research, yet they feel they will naturally be good parents. Sometimes a bad decision is the reason why you are a parent in the first place. Maybe, just maybe, you might need to find effective ways to control and educate your children, and maybe, just maybe, your child will benefit with a good ban and bust tail. Some parents do not even understand that a child is not an adult. They need discipline. Children are unaware of consequences, therefore they will not always be able to make proper decisions for themselves. We have to guide them. And since our protecting them shelters them from many of the actual consequences of their actions, we must give them consequences. Everybody doesn't have the personality where a warning will suffice. Some people will not heed any warning ever at all, and it is only when they feel the burn of their actions that they will learn that they were doing junk all along, sweetheart. A child who now born cannot come and rule me. Sometimes there is no time for well thought out bouts of punishment. Sometimes a little hard pinch on the shoulder or abdomen can fix all of your child's unruly behavior in 0.5 of a second. Children are just small and very ignorant people who we have been commissioned to teach and train. They have to be taught their place, or else they will drive you mad thing. Then when they are ungrateful adults who can't say thanks and feel that the world revolves around them, they will find out the hard way that they cannot function properly in society. At this point, they will not think back lovingly to when their mother let them rule the house. They will blame her for everything that's wrong with them. Yes, I know the abusers make it bad for all of we. Some parents can't hit anybody else, so they hit the child. Some of them are angry, dysfunctional adults who don't know how to think straight, and they kill the children. Anybody so should have their licks license removed. Revoked. Some people hit a child all in the top of their head or crack the back. Some people do not explain why the child is being punished to the child, and some people punish a child harshly when the child is too small to understand that they are wrong for what they do. This is sad and is wrong. Some children get hot water licks, cold water licks, sea water licks, cross the road licks, neighbor licks, step parent best friend licks, licking with the cuckoo stick, lick up with a bamboo stick, lick down with a 2x4, lick through with slippers and every other object. It is too much and is unnecessary. Some children grew bitter because of licks, so some people hate licks. I understand all of that. But many people will tell you that those occasional lashes really shape them into the person they are today, in a good way. And some children, especially boys and girls under the age of 14, some of them, as in the breathing ones, they will test you. And you might have to pass something across the pooch so they will learn. A smart child will be a trickster. As soon as they do something that they know they're going to get lashed for, they always got to use the bathroom, I can't wait, or can't find the cuckoo stick. The belt is nowhere to be seen and all the other belts too high for them to reach, or they just can't get it out the closet. The truth is that Mr. Belt got hidden since last week Thursday and it buried under the doghouse outside, or if they aren't allowed outside, Mr. Belt is hiding at the bottom of the toys. If they are not premeditated in their mischief, then they are probably a fairly good behaved child. Either that, or they didn't get enough breast milk or attention, and let's face it, they don't see. Don't worry. There is still hope for Duncy kids. And if your kids don't see, read the rest. In case, you might get a bright child later on. But generally speaking, licks is not the way to help a Duncy child, so do not beat them. That was a joke, but guilty people does be touchy bad. Same way as there are pretty people and ugly people, there are pretty kids and ugly kids. Not ugly, sorry, I mean differently pretty. And the same way how there are bright people and differently bright people, there are smart kids and differently bright kids. But it was a joke still. Please take it as a joke and let's move forward. Okay, good. Now, even bright children will give trouble. Sometimes the bright ones is the worst. If the troublesome spirit overtook their soul while they're in close vicinity to you and they anticipate some hot lashes, they will be inclined to run. This method will eliminate the issues of self-harm while trying to catch a runner. It will also eliminate needing to look for a proper lashing apparatus and will aid in prevention of overlashing and parent fatigue from too much physical and emotionally based lashing. Remember, licks do not have to be your first choice. Try things. Sometimes a little ban or a weekend of house arrest, as we Bajans would say, a stop home, can bruise the heart in places that no slap can touch. However, if you have tried other methods and they have not worked, please follow these steps for lashing below. Rule 1. The threat. Be very firm when you speak to children and start saying no to them, sometimes from baby stage. They must learn that when you say yes or no, it is final. There needs to be a lot of love in the initial stages of both yes and no. Hugs and love regardless, unless the no is a real issue. Be firm with no. If the loving has to stop because the no is not being respected, then put on a vexed face and repeat, no. Never laugh with them when you are serious about telling them no. If the no is still not treated with respect, then you threaten to lash. Give chances. Rule 2. The lash plan. Remember not to hit your child out of anger. If you are not angry, skip to rule 3. It's okay to be annoyed, but not angry. If you feel like you want to kill the child, you cannot hit them at all. Put them outside. Most of us do not have a high-walled sheet pen, which would be most effective for confinement, but that's okay. Most children don't have anywhere to go. Put them in the gallery until you can compose yourself and come up with a plan of how to deal with them. Also, especially at night, a little cool moon air fixes them very quick. The only body who really cares about your child is you. You who are spending all the money, you that proud when they succeed, and you who pretending not to be ashamed when they make a fool of themselves. And they know this. They are biologically programmed to understand that you are very important. That little 5 minutes outside makes them think that maybe you're over them. For a child, this is very scary, and they'll be sorry they made you feel this way. Some kids are some real cold-hearted, hard behind ones, and may still need licks. But a little outdoors can often solve a problem, especially with a girl child. If they got your head hot, put them up for between 5 and 10 minutes. Drink a cup of hot tea or squeeze a lime and make a little cool lemonade quick and relax yourself while you keep an eye on them through the door or window. It is okay to laugh at your kid. Check she out there with these snot bubbles popping and banging on the door. I thought you so big and bad. I thought you don't need to tell me please, and you can slam doors in the house I paying for. Learn to have no shame when you are disciplining your child out of love. The same neighbors who were just saying how rude the baby is and how she already out of control at 4 years old, they were just proud to say that you're doing a crap job. Ignore them. Make sure to watch the child. Make sure the child is safe. Do not leave them out there for longer than 10 minutes because they may start to get brave and walk to the grandparents' home to complain for you. Your parents, who used to cut your behind and let you go in your bed hungry, will want to treat you like you're being a bad parent. All of a sudden, rudeness is kind of cute and you need to have a heart. Ignore them too. When you let the child back inside, have a plan for how to deal with them for the rest of the day and a clearer head. Rule 3. Lash location. If it must come to licks, like if you gave 2 or 3 warnings and the ignorance is still continuing, you have to think about where to hit the child and do not beat them wild. If slapping with your hand, avoid corners. Elbows and knees and shoulders will mash up your hand. Parents who intend to incorporate corporal punishment into their child disciplinary regimen need to have a cuckoo stick or a small belt that is placed in a sacred spot and can be reached by them but not the children. The behind is the best place to slap. This is also true of man and woman relations, but I digress. Hands, arms, and legs can also work, but boxy is king. Rule 4. The hold and stroke. If the child is a runner, like I have mentioned earlier, and also for the squirmers, you must kick off your shoe and stand on one of their feet while grabbing one of their arms. Keep the child facing away from you. This will give you a grip of the upper and lower body and prohibit their escape. It will also stop them from dropping down on the ground mid-lash and getting hit all about in their head or some other part that you do not want to hit, and it will prevent them from blocking the lashes with their hands. Now lash them word for word with intensity that will sting but not cripple in order to ensure that they understand what is happening. You find a short sentence and designate 1 word per lash. If it is not a major offense but could develop into one and therefore lick still seems like the preferred punishment, give them it phrase for phrase. If it is a man doing the beating and the licks are hot, you may also choose the phrase method to avoid overbeating. Example: do, packs, not, packs, lie, packs, eat, tap, your, tap, food, tap, boy, wax. I tell you, no wax. And you play you can't hear, wax. That last one would have been the phrase. The first 2 would have been the word for word. Rule 5. Reasoning. Make sure they know why they got lashes. And if you are a mother and you are disappointed and can't get over how truly awful your child has been, talk as long as you feel like. Talk them right out. murder them with the talking. Talking out kids is cathartic, and it will help you to accept that your baby is human, not of the angelic species like you thought, and will sometimes do crap. Example of how to talk them out. I can't believe you let yourself get licks for truth. How many times have I told you to leave people things alone? You foolish. Never call them a fool. Use similes. How you gonna take out the boy things? I don't care if you do not like him. You cannot do them things. When I was small, blah, 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 blah. If I ever hear about you thieving again, blah, 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 blah. When the police hold you, don't call me, blah, 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 blah. You were out of order, blah, 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 blah. Don't even ask me for a pizza money this week, blah, blah, blah. Disney World, you really want to talk about rewards when you're going to be a hardcore criminal, blah, 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 blah. Chefette, blah, blah, blah. You getting oats for lunch today. And if you are a mother, always remember that because usually dads talk less and hit harder, the father or father figure threat works quite well and can be used at any time to maintain order in the home. Wait till I tell daddy how you pull your sister hair will often result in a level of panic as the child starts to think about the options daddy might choose to utilize in order to remind them of all the things they already knew but refused to do. If we really care for our kids, we have to use both heart and logic in order to raise people who don't end up 40 years old and living home with us, and we paying for Pampers for the grands, and the boyfriend's light and water is now tied up in our bills. So many people do not know how to survive in the real world where there are consequences for every decision you make. Therefore, they stay home and keep their parents miserable, expecting mom and dad to fight all their battles for them and take all their adult licks. I bet the idea of saying no and occasional cut pooch doesn't seem like such a bad idea now, huh? But it's too late. They just be cute until they go in the road and met your shame.